I'm the Operations Manager for Dock Tongariro.
Kia ora koutou, ko Renee Potae tōku ingoa. Renee Potae, Assistant Commander Manawatu Wanganui. I'm the Incident Controller for this event for fire and emergency.
Kia ora koutou, te ngai he waniko. He pakeke ahau. I'm a pakeke of Ngāti Kairo ki Tongariro, and I'm here with the kaumātua group Te Haumata.
Kia ora koutou, Western Curtin Mayor of Rahui District Council, here once again after a month of activities.
We're just talking, if come a little bit closer to the microphone, but all good.
Should we?
Just a quick. Is anyone going live? Just a question, so I know you're going live. Okay.
Should we all step forward together or one at a time?
Just one at a time. Yeah. So, you happy to go?
Sugar pie, honey bun.
Girl,
Or would you like to just ask some questions?
I don't.
Going to talk first and then questions after?
I'll give an update on the fire situation and then questions.
Yeah, great.
Oh, go. Get up.
Kia ora koutou. Here once again at Tongariro for a fire in the Tongariro National Park. Today, day 2, we'd like to give a update on the situation. At the moment, the fire hasn't grown in size since yesterday afternoon, which is great news. After being remapped, it's sitting at 296 hectares with a perimeter of 8.5 kilometres. We've had approximately 30 ground crew, 30 members of a ground crew working on the fire today, basically making sure that the perimeter of the fire is being contained. There is air support from anywhere between 2 and 4 helicopters working at one time, just to make sure any hotspots are being put out. Right now it's just after lunch and we're about to head into the hottest part of the afternoon here in our alpine environment, so the ground crews remain at work along the roadside and up the southern flank with air support from our helicopters to get us through this hottest part of the day. In saying that, the latest news from the operations team is that they consider around 80% of the perimeter of the fire to be contained. Contained doesn't mean the fire is necessarily out. It may still be burning in hot spots in the middle of the fire. But this is good news with respect to ensuring that the fire doesn't spread to an area that's bigger than where it is right now. Tonight we'll have a crew monitoring, one crew on the ground, but also a drone team. And their work with the drone and thermal imaging camera will just ground truth what we've seen out there today. The weather, it's getting very hot down there, but winds are relatively light, and that's been very helpful for the firefighting efforts. Just really would like to thank the rest of our stakeholders who have been instrumental in this effort, as always, particularly DOC and iwi, and police and council and everybody else. But we do have 2 DOC crews, and they are heading the furthest away from the road with their fit crews to ensure that we're getting right up into the maunga and just making sure we're getting on top of this fire. There will be further updates after we pass through the heat of the day. Fire investigation continues. We'll be working with police, and the road cordons remain as they are throughout this next operational period. We hope to be able to give updates on the cordons for the road early this evening. Any questions?
Go through.
Perfect.
Go through. Doc. Cool. Kapai. Cool. Kia ora koutou, I'm Libby O'Brien. I'm the Operations Manager for the Department of Conservation here in Tongariro. First of all, I just wanted to acknowledge, as Renee has said, everyone who's been involved in this fire and I guess the recovery from the previous fire to date. It's been just over a month to the day yesterday from that first fire, which is quite ironic, but also just everyone has come together in the most magical way as they did a month ago, and it is a privilege to stand here alongside our community partners. It's upsetting. I do want to acknowledge for this community that's already been through a lot. It's really difficult to see those flames and those clouds again. But as the department, we are really committed to working with the community to make sure that we are able to get that message out that we are still open for business and supporting our visitors to be safe and to come back to the park when the time is right. As Renee said, we have been supporting the response, both in the background but also on the fire line today with 2 crews. Renee mentioned that they were very fit. They're also obviously dealing with very warm temperatures today, so thank you goes out to the Fens crew, the air crew who was up yesterday and also on standby today, and our teams on the ground who are doing that hard mahi. We have got some areas of the park, of Tongariro National Park, that are currently closed. That's for the safety of our visitors, and also because State Highway 47, which helps people to come into the park from this side, is also closed and behind that cordon. So Whakapapa Village is pretty empty at the moment. We've got some residents here, but yesterday we did ask our visitors to think about leaving just so that we could make sure we keep them safe, also so that we don't have people walking out from Whakapapa Village into the park, which means we aren't able to look after them and make sure that they are safe and well. We're not aware of any structural damage or damage to our tracks, but again, as a precaution, we have closed all of the tracks from Whakapapa Village just to keep everybody safe. Mangatapopo Hut, which is the first hut on the Tongariro Northern Circuit, closest to the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, has been closed. We don't have anybody in that hut. Today, as a precaution, we invited visitors staying at Waihohonu Hut to be able to leave that hut, and we have helped them to get back to Whakapapa Village, where a lot of them had their vehicles, and they've been escorted through cordons to be able to make their way to their next destination or home. In terms of track closures, we are wanting to get the park back open to our manuhiri as quickly as possible, but we aren't in a position to do that until we have been, I guess, given the clearance from Fire and Emergency New Zealand that the park is safe. But also we're really reliant on State Highway 47 being open to allow people and vehicles to be able to come in. Once we've got an update, as Renee said earlier this evening, around what's happening with that fire, once we get through the hottest part of the day, we'll be able to make a call, but we are committed to getting the park back open to visitors as quickly as we can. Hopefully tomorrow, but we will have to make that call potentially later this evening. We want to be able to support our local operators who do run shuttles and guiding operations in the park, but we also just need to make sure that our visitors and our staff are safe. In terms of the impact on biodiversity, we are aware that there will be similar impacts to biodiversity in the park, but this fire is of a smaller scale, but the species that have been impacted are likely to be the same. The vegetation is in a very similar area as well. We'll be working with Ngāti Hakairo ki Tongariro on the Maunga Order restoration plan, and a big focus of that plan and the recovery going forward will be on weed control and making sure that we can stop invasive species coming into the park. Speaking of Ngāti Hakairo ki Tongariro, who we are really proud to be partnering with, I understand that Tanahi will provide an update on any potential Rahui or extensions of restorative Rahui in the area, and we'll just continue to work with Ngāti Hakairo as we ensure our visitors are safe and that we can welcome people back as quickly as possible, but to make sure that we're not doing that before we're really comfortable that everyone can be safe. Finally, again, I really just want to touch on thank you to everyone who has stepped in to look after Tongariro National Park over the last 24 hours. Tongariro National Park has a really special place in the hearts of anyone who has ever been here before, and so it really does take the community, tangata whenua, our dock staff, Fens, just everybody to be able to come together to save as much as we can, and I just really wanted to say thank you. Pass over to you.
Kia ora koutou, te ngai he wanikau, Ngāti Hakairo ki Tongariro. Well, here we are again. But there are some things that are unavoidable. to have them happen a month apart is quite an event. But what has come out of that is the first blossom, I believe, of our restoration. And that is the strength of the relationships between local government, regional government, of course, the department, the fire services, who I cannot praise enough, the police, and every other organisation that has committed and dedicated themselves with more than work ethic. It's been done within an umbrella of cohesiveness between hapu, between our marae and them, that really has showed that when we work together, things happen a lot faster. And we can make 1 and 1 equals 3. Also, a mention to our Minister, Tama Potaka, who has been behind us. When I say us, all the communities involved from day one. And so as the kaupapa of Maunga Order goes forward, which is about the restoration and protection of our maunga, Maunga Order is also about the restoration and protection of our relationships on the ground, so that when we go forward together. So on that note, I can't give much technical update. The experts are here all around me. But what I can say is that I think we've reached a new level of relationship that makes anything in this region possible. Not just this. And just to note, to do with the Rahui. The Rahui is extended on all affected lands, including the ones that have been recently impacted. The Rahui is especially grateful that neither event has been tragic. And the Rahui encompasses the exact statement that was given out for the first Rahui. This is an extension of that. So I hope that helps to appease everyone. And that starts from the day the last of the fire has been quelled. So thank you. Any questions?
We might have two questions later. Thank you.
Question?
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou kata. This is the second significant vegetation fire to break out in Tongariro National Park in less than a month, as it was said earlier. Many of us have barely caught our breath from the first blaze, and I want to acknowledge the very shock, fatigue, frustration and uncertainty that people across the Ruapehu and the wider region are feeling. It is understandable, and it is shared deeply by Council and by everyone who loves and cares for our whenua. First, I want to express my sincere appreciation to the first responders and every person who has worked tirelessly over the last few days under extreme and challenging conditions. Our deep thanks go to Fire and Emergency New Zealand, Civil Defence, Ruapehu District Council staff, our local contractors, support crews and the wider community who has stepped forward with support. I also want to thank the Minister of Emergency Management and Recovery, Mark Mitchell, for his call and his offer for any assistance that we may need. The emergence of a second large-scale fire so soon after the previous fire is confronting. It reinforces the fragile system and environment that we have and the responsibility we all share to tread lightly, respectfully and carefully when experiencing our beautiful national park. Tongariro National Park is not only a treasured landscape, it is a living ancestral place, biodiversity stronghold and a cornerstone to our local economy. Council stands firmly with Ngāti Hikairo ki Tongariro and the placement of their Rahui over the affected area. The latest fire clearly demonstrates how necessary and appropriate that protective measure is as our environment begins to heal. Thankfully, there have been no injuries or loss of life, but the firefighting effort is ongoing and safety remains absolute priority. To everyone currently in the area or planning to visit, please keep up to date with the latest information, track closures and official advice. It is important to note that while a portion of the park has been affected, the vast majority of the Tongariro National Park remains untouched and very much open for business. Council is supporting the response effort, including providing welfare assistance if anyone is in need for help. Please reach out to us. We are here for you. Finally, I want to again acknowledge the resilience of our Ruapehu communities. Whatever economic, cultural or environmental shocks come our way, including that of the last fire, Ruapehu will continue to adapt, pivot and fight back to our unique Ruapehu way. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thanks, Henry.
I just a couple of questions. I mean, can we get any updates on the cause of the fire?
Yeah, so with respect to the cause of the fire, the police have shared that they have some positive lines of inquiry with how it started and that it does seem to be unintentional. So, you know, a mishap with a vehicle basically, and that's the comms that has come through and that we've put out earlier today. So, yeah, just as we've been alluded to, and just one of those things, and a very interesting coincidence, but a coincidence at that.
And I guess, you know, since this is the, you know, we had obviously a very large fire last month, you've got this fire now, what are your concerns going forward into this summer, which is looking quite hot?
Yeah, it is. It's something that we do sort of pre-plan for every year with our roles, and certainly parts of New Zealand are drying out considerably. Hawke's Bay, Canterbury, you know, we've seen several fires this week as well as this one. In an alpine environment like this, though, I think it's easy to forget how susceptible we are to fire with the type of vegetation we have, with the number of rainfall days we experience here, as the locals will attest to, particularly at Whakapapa, which means that when we do get a run of dry weather, these vegetation types can dry out quite quickly, and it can sometimes take people by surprise. So I think that's a learning that we can all take from these fires.
One question would be, what did you learn from the first fire that you were saying maybe able to implement in this?
It was pretty similar, really. The last time we had slightly different weather conditions, which took the fire in a different direction quite quickly. So similar response, but it's just on a smaller scale. And even just the time of day, time of the week, that meant that the response this time was quite quick, as it was last time, but our wind wasn't as strong this time as it was last time. So I guess the takeaway from that sort of statement there is just how important a role the weather plays in fires in our environment. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.